Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Creator Case Study. On today's episode, we got YouTuber, podcaster, minimalist, filmmaker, Kraig Adams. And it gets a little bit weird because Kraig is a little bit of a weirdo, and I mean that in the best way possible. There is some really useful information about branding yourself on YouTube, and we also talk about Kraig abandoning a channel with 100,000 subscribers. So make sure to stick around and take notes, and let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. So today I'm sitting down with Kraig Adams, who is a YouTube content creator who is just about to surpass the 80,000 subscriber milestone. And I guess I'll just admit up top, it's very difficult to classify what Kraig does because he just seems to do a little bit of everything. He does podcasts, he does vlogs, he's done tech reviews, education videos, tutorials, travel videos, pretty much everything. So I have really struggled to just label him anything. So I guess first off, Kraig, thank you for being here. And secondly, can you help me out? Can you explain how you think of what you do?
Yeah, it's an easy and difficult question. I'm good at video, so I tend to move in that direction, but technically I could do anything. Just like you said, that's a jack of all trades. Having unlimited options is a blessing and a curse because sometimes I don't even know what I do. Because I can do it. But like I said, video is my thing. I've been doing that for so long. Of course, photo, design, etc. is involved in video, but I'm just a filmmaker. I'm just a video maker. Video is hot right now. Everyone loves video, so it's working.
So I guess being that you are a jack of all trades, this next question is kind of interesting to me. When you started the Kraig Adams channel, did you have any sort of roadmap that you wanted to go down to initialize the growth? Did you have anything that you wanted to particularly focus on, or how did you approach launching that channel, being that you do so much?
Yeah, the Kraig Adams channel had a couple videos on it before I would say I went full-time with it. Like, what does that even mean? I'd been using it as a placeholder just because I think most of us get our name when it comes to a YouTube channel. It's like, why not, down the road. But I was just realizing that it's been 2 years of vlogging. And 2 years ago is when I took the Kraig Adams channel and started uploading pretty seriously and committing to a promise and then trying to build a subscriber base. And that promise was vlogs, authentic expression of whatever I thought was cool at the time and not just trendy. Just sharing what I think is interesting and what I want to share. You asked about like the design of it from the get-go. I guess I didn't have much of a design other than just like being really inspired by Casey and other people who were starting to vlog seriously. I attempted the daily vlog thing and just wanted to make as many videos as I could. So, that kind of shaped it from the beginning, but then I started to have a lot more confidence in sharing the videos that I wanted to do rather than what was popular or had low risk of failing, I guess. So, it started off as a vlogging channel and it's definitely moved away from that.
Right. You hear that a lot with new YouTubers, although at the time you weren't a new YouTuber, but when people launch new channels, they start by emulating others and then they find their own voice, and that's when stuff really gets interesting. So with this Kraig Adams channel, what was the first video or series that you put out there that really hit and resonated with your audience and started to get you to that new audience and grow the channel?
Yeah, most of the videos that did well as far as views and watch time and engagement metrics were SEO based. So they were reverse engineered from Google questions, and it made sense. It was this LUT, that lens, this drone, this technique, just things that were genuinely helping people who were searching for it. And then there were my subscriber based videos, which were vlogs about me doing whatever I was up to. No one was really looking for that, but every so often I'd get someone who did watch it and thought it was interesting and then would follow along. And that's like way different than search-based views. It's like people who subscribe and follow the story And the more they watch and the more they're invested, the more, value they get out of the experience, because they get the inside jokes. I respond to them if I've seen them around. It's a different promise. It's much more of a long-term relationship to have those fans and subscribers return again and again for like videos that no one's asking for. Right. You kind of have to surprise them and then keep them.
So as far as the SEO, did you actively go out and look for what the top-rated Google search words were and then base video ideas off of that? Or was it just by luck that you stumbled across that?
Yeah, I was just using the dumb computer that is my brain. And I wasn't using any technical algorithms or thought processes other than, this seems cool. A lot of people are talking about this. I keep seeing this pattern show up. Everyone's talking about this drone, so of course people are going to be curious. Just like I'm starting to realize the difference between people who are just using their mind to connect information. Like, it's all collect information and then like analyze it and then make an action based on that. It's like, because this is a totally separate tangent but connected, but like I'm fascinated by stocks and finances and people who use pattern recognition to read stocks and determine like what's going to happen with stock prices. And most people just use their mind and brain, and it's a dumb computer. It can only do like a couple things okay. Everything else is terrible. But then computers are really good at specific things. But when you join in a bunch of different algorithms that improve upon each other, like it just makes sense. It's like, do not trade stocks or do anything with the markets unless you're like using computers and taking in as much information and then making decisions based on that. Like, why don't we do that for YouTube? Like, why is it so different between creators and like financial analysts? Like, why don't we create algorithms and then make decisions based on what we do as creators? Like, I made this video because I thought this was going to work. Why don't I write that down into a program and then analyze the results? Was it a good investment, a good decision, or a bad one? Like, why don't we keep improving upon that? You have an expectation, you mark and write down what you did to try to reach there, and then you write the feedback. Like, did you make your expectation? Like, was the conversion successful? And if it was or wasn't, why? And then just keep writing those down in some kind of program, and then like build upon that information, and not just, and it's like swinging in the wind with everything. Like, it's like, what is even the point? Oh, it's like rolling a 6-sided dice. Oh man.
Isn't that kind of the fun of YouTube though? I know it can be really disheartening when you're really passionate about this new idea, but then it falls flat on its face. But I think that's kind of the excitement, trying to find that next thing and not being so clinical about your approach. But I'm just a dope. I'm not I'm not some big media tycoon person. I just make videos in my house, man.
Yeah, people can do whatever, but it's just, I guess it's the way my mind works, and it blows my mind that we're making decisions with all of the information in the world, but we're just not analyzing it at all, So on that note, let me ask you this. Do you think that change in mentality started when you went full-time YouTube, or have you always had this mentality to approach stuff in a very clinical, trying to find the best way to, analyze the growth and lead to further growth? Yeah, obviously just blissfully unaware of some things. And it was funny that you said like some term you said was so not right for me, because I had no idea what I was doing even 2 years ago. Like, I wasn't treating myself as a YouTuber at that point. Like, I was just making videos and being dumb. But yeah, things have changed. And, if you do something over and over and over again and it doesn't have the effect that you expect, of course you're going to get frustrated and try to look within and look at the feedback and try to figure out why. I think we all do that to some degree, but if you do something for 2 years and it just doesn't work as well as you think, I think you're going to want to start looking at analytically.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So when you first started to see growth on your channel, what did you do to keep your new audience engaged and interested in coming back? Did you have any plans thinking, oh, well, they came for this, let's go ahead and keep making this type of video? Or did you say, let's throw them off their guard and release something from left field? How did you approach that?
I guess I've never really known what I should be doing. The biggest aha moment was to just stop copying people and to just stop. Maybe it wasn't so much the stuff that I was doing, but more so what I was seeing within the community. Maybe I can't pinpoint exactly why it bothers me so much, but my highest value is authentic expression. And if people make a video for the wrong reasons, or make a vlog and say they're doing it because of this, but you know deep down that they're doing it for another reason, that just pisses me off. So seeing those things and looking at my own reactions to like what I would call fake sellout, do it for the clicks, the money, the views, the fame, the fortune things, hollow, I don't know how to describe it, but seeing how other people did make like their channels just made me want to move in the opposite direction. Yeah, it's a hard, like, it's funny even like thinking about the past 2 years as successful, but I feel like every mistake I've made, I've just tried to learn from it and moves in the slightly opposite direction. Like, and eventually I make enough mistakes that I kind of have somewhat close to, hitting close to the expectations that I have for myself.
Right. And let me just go ahead and say, I always appreciate your videos that do come out of left field. Like one week you just decided, I'm really into this stock app, I'm going to make a video where I trade on it, or maybe it was Bitcoin, some app like that. And I just found that very fascinating that you did a lot of travel videos, you made some comedy videos, and then out of left field, you said, I'm going to go ahead and do some stock trading. I found that very cool. So yeah. I just wanted
it's pretty easy to understand what I'm into that week.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and change gears a little bit and talk a bit more abstractly about a bunch of different aspects of your channel. And the first thing is you have a very strong brand, or at least from my point of view, you have a very strong brand. And I've always viewed that as a very dirty word, especially when you're talking about self-branding, because it always feels very sleazy. But you don't come across as like a sleazy used car salesman. So can you talk about how you approached branding yourself, or even if you did?
Yeah, it's when you say branding, like I just immediately think story. Like, what's the story you're trying to tell? And like a lot of filmmakers like use those terms, but in different ways. Like, I'm a storyteller and all that stuff. But it is true. Yeah, it's a story, and it always comes back to that idea that I just touched upon. It's like, what are you telling people that your story is, and what is the actual story that's going on? Like, when the two conflict each other, like it's so sleazy. Like, that's the sleaze when you say something and do something else. Like, if you make a promise, just do that. Like, I don't know, if you're gonna be making videos about like stunting on people, like I see so much stuff, and it always comes back to the promise and then the return. Like, are you keeping your promises with your audience or not? Because some people are like, they are wild and out there and crazy, and we know those people on YouTube. But if they accept it and they own it, like, that's totally fine. But if you are trying to be this one thing but you're something else, I feel like we get it. Like, even if you're not saying it, like, we sense it in some way.
I've never heard branding described as that, kind of like an agreement between the creator and the audience. And I really like that, actually. I think that's a great way to think about branding. And you mentioned it's a story. Do you view your channel as just a long overarching story, or do you think each video is more of a standalone story?
Yeah. Each video is just a little episode within the story. I'm trying to hone in what the story is. You got to make it compelling. There's got to be conflict, but religion is a story. Capitalism is a story.
So do you?
Every brand is a story. Like Pepsi's a story. Money is a story. Like it all comes down to that. Seriously, if you wanted to go abstract, baby, I'll go there.
Oh God.
Oh,
that's fascinating though.
Have you been reading a lot? Like, are you doing the audiobook thing?
I was trying to. Then I got so backed up on my podcasts that I've just been trying to clear those out. I need to unsubscribe from quite a few because I have like 50 podcasts that I listen to. Jeez. It's just too many.
Yeah, I've stopped listening to podcasts. I just listen to audiobooks because they're like professional podcasts. They're like podcasts that have been being made for like centuries.
Yeah.
Like podcasts are kind of new, but books are old.
Yeah.
So I'm just pulling from the larger library.
Yeah. Not everybody thinks that they can write a book, but everybody thinks that they can podcast. So there's going to be a lot more rubbish in the podcast market as opposed to the book market.
Hey, I don't care if your podcast is number 5 on US iTunes trending. Like, hey, this book is 500 years old and people still know what it is. Like, hey, if your podcast is alive 500 years from now, I'll listen to it. But I'm gonna take some time reading some books first.
That's interesting. So do you how frequently every single day are you listening to books, and what topic area are you really listening to?
Ooh, yeah. I switch between my personal favorite that is like really deep, thick sci-fi, because I'm fascinated with the idea of like what people right now think the future will look like, because it says a lot about us right now. And looking at how people in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s thought about what the future would be like is like art. It's like why we go to museums, because like the way that people made clay pots back in Mesopotamia like said so much about their culture. So I don't know, I'm fascinated with like what I think the future is going to be like, what they thought the future was going to be like, and it changes so much. Like, dude, watch a Netflix show from like a year ago, so different from now. That plus finance, that plus all of the like, think and help yourself Buddhism videos, etc., or books, I'm saying.
So what's the sci-fi book that you would recommend if you could only recommend one?
Ooh, yeah. Speaker for the Dead is pretty good. It goes there. It's pretty slow, but I'd say with most books, the best ones, like you have to push yourself through the first 20% to get to the good stuff. But Speaker for the Dead is like a book that's in the series of Scott and whatever, the Ender's Game person, Scott Card or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in my kit. Check it out.
I'll go check out your kit.
Yeah. I just derailed your podcast to talk about books for a little bit.
No, that's good. So let's go ahead and change topics a little bit and talk about wedding film school. And I really just want to ask one question here because you did something very unusual. So for people who don't know what wedding film school is, it's your old YouTube channel where you got about 100,000 subscribers and then you stopped uploading there. Now, I'm bringing this up because a lot of people, if they hit 100,000 subs, would not stop uploading. They would double down. Can you talk about the mentality behind saying, you know what, I'm going to step back from this pretty successful YouTube channel and go a different direction?
Yeah, for a number of reasons, I didn't want to shoot weddings anymore. The people, the culture, the time it took. I don't know. I've been asked why did you stop shooting weddings a couple of times, and I've given some weird answers. I don't feel like I've truly thought about it enough to be satisfied with one definitive answer. But when I stopped shooting weddings, it made it more difficult to talk about weddings. I felt like I was being a phony. Like, how can you talk about something and try to educate others when you don't actually do it anymore?
Right.
So I put myself under that pressure because I could do whatever. I could say, F it, whatever. I'll talk about the best wedding camera and I don't shoot weddings anymore. But I felt the pressure.
Yeah, and that speaks to your character a lot, because I imagine a channel like that could be very lucrative given the amount that wedding filmmakers do spend and affiliate marketing and all of that stuff. So, like I said, it speaks to your character that you're not willing to be a sellout like that and say, yeah, let's go ahead and milk this for all it's worth. So I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, so we made the transition to make it more of a community. And I have a whole business plan that would make it work, where I don't shoot weddings, but instead we pull inspiration from the rest of the industry. Totally possible. I even have the whole layout for more of a contributor-based channel, where I have incentives for people to submit pitches for videos, blogs, podcast episodes even. And then once they're approved, they're made, and I pick the best ones, and then that's the content for the channel. And then eventually people who've proven themselves would become, I guess, partners in a sense, and then maybe even earn equity within Wedding Film School, because I've been in talks with people to buy it. I know what it's worth. I put 3 years of my life into it. I know what it could make anyone selling a wedding-based product or service, regardless an individual creator just like uploading as a YouTuber. So it's hard for me to prove that value that I know, because I've been in it for a while, when I'm not uploading videos and I don't have the current stats to prove it. Whereas if I started uploading for 3 months straight, I would have the stats. But to start doing that would to be working full time as a wedding film channel manager again. So part of me wants to try this contributor base process to get someone to act as a manager and then slowly raise their equity level until they take over. We'll see.
Interesting. That's a very business savvy. I haven't heard people talking about YouTube channels like that before. So you're opening my mind to all these new approaches to YouTube. It's interesting.
I've got business plans for both brands. Like I know how to scale. I know how much work we have ready available for like a staff. I'm just not into it. Heart's not into it. I would say, have you ever read Drift? It's a coffee-based magazine.
I have not, but that sounds interesting because I have a severe addiction to coffee.
Yeah, I love it. Quick aside, Drift is where I kind of pulled a lot of this inspiration from. It's started by one person, Adam, here in New York City, but they go around to different cities and make a physical, beautiful, minimal magazine all about coffee and how coffee is the thing that's how you can enter a new foreign place and then not feel like a tourist and like actually learn, because coffee is like based around communication and togetherness. But the way that they get contributors for words and photos and produce content for that publication based around an audience of people who love travel, being authentic, minimalism, and coffee, it's inspired me a lot. And I've been slowly making my way towards Adam. As a fellow New York City person, I'd love to get him on the podcast and just absorb the inspiration for that publication. But yeah, that's just an aside. That's the person I'm looking at right now.
So you mentioned that you have two business plans for both brands. Are you willing to share anything about your business plan for Kraig Adams?
Yeah. So I would say it's like pretty straightforward. Maybe it's just coming from my perspective, but it's so easy to start a YouTube channel and to make money. It's the same exact model that Wedding Film School did. You just have to know who your audience, like you could do whatever you want, but to a degree, there's a certain thing you should do to make money. What's the promise you're making your subscribers? And then how do you do that? You just think about the different audiences, and sponsors are an audience. Like, what are you presenting and then promising sponsors? What are they getting? And then how do you just like make that a loop? But for the Kraig Adams brand, it would be so easy to be a Peter McKinnon. So easy. You can see all of the YouTubers kind of following in his footsteps already. I don't know if you know Peter McKinnon, but he's like a filmmaker who does like the quick tricks, and he's like a cool Canadian guy who's like positive and fun. And he reps the gear and he's all about the gear and the tricks, and he makes a buttload of money from affiliate and sponsors. I know that for a fact. Cool guy. Talked with him a little bit, but it's just not what I want to do. I'm moving away from affiliate as much as it's lucrative and fun. It's a weird conflicting thing where I don't want to like push and rep gear when I'm moving in the opposite direction. Like I will eventually not have a camera. Like I swear to God. Like
So,
if you knew the amount of stuff that is in my apartment right now, like I have a very small closet and everything I own goes in there. That's it. Like that's it. This is India's apartment. This is my girlfriend's apartment.
So if you didn't have a camera, how would you make films, or would you just not?
I guess this is a camera, but it would be fun to just do this. But in a way, like I would love to just write. Like I said, I'm a filmmaker right now because that's what I've been doing the most and that's what I'm the best at. But it would be fun to just like run and just to like make money and figure out a career after that. Like content doesn't have to be just video, like you said, audio.
Yeah.
I can do audio. Like I could do whatever. I could just write. I could do a podcast. I could do whatever. But I'm getting to the point where it doesn't matter how I do it, just as long as it's authentic expression. Like the money isn't what I'm going after. Like I can make my life work. It's just as long as I'm happy expressing authentically. All I'm saying is money's not it. I just want to be able to do whatever I want.
Yeah, the end goal is not having X number of zeros in your bank account. It's being able to accomplish your goals, or be able to say tomorrow, I want to go to France, and go to France. It's not the end goal. It's a tool to let you accomplish what you want to accomplish. Yeah. So being that you are so open about money, I don't want to go too deep into monetization, because you have mentioned on your podcast that you have this idea to do a video or a series of videos about monetization, which at this point I do want to encourage you to do, because I think that's a brilliant idea. So I'll just ask one question here, and it may seem a little bit odd because you were just talking about avoiding earning affiliate marketing or any of that stuff, but how would you suggest a new creator begin to earn money when they first start their YouTube channel? Should they initially jump in and say, I'm going to start monetizing today, or should they start to build their brand and then monetize later? How would you suggest going about that?
I would always focus on scaling and growing instead of cashing in and monetizing. Like I just went through the idea of like, should I do workshops and try to monetize education and in-person experiences? And I feel like I failed without even doing it. Like I stopped myself at a good time. I don't want to do it. And I would suggest that people just like give away as much as possible. And it's tough because, yeah, I know what it's like when you're starting as a YouTuber and making like barely $100 a month. So that advice can be a little tough, but you gotta work another job as you transition into YouTube. Like you cannot start with a brand new channel and expect to make money. But affiliate is good. I think we all use tools to make what we do, regardless of what it is. And if you start to have an audience, that audience will always know or want to know what tools you use to make the things you do. It's so universal. If you're doing beauty, photo, rock climbing, if you're just doing like pudding reviews, like you got to use a camera for that, like whatever. Yeah, we're moving towards like a much larger influencer marketing like world. So you can earn affiliate on anything. Like as evil as Amazon is, like, dude, just ride that train. It's going to crash eventually, but we're all making money off of Amazon. We all feel guilty about it in some way, but damn, Bezos is like 130 billion right now. We thought it was crazy when he broke 100. He's at 130 billion.
He's ridiculously wealthy. His company is going to destroy the world.
Yeah.
But it's such a convenient website. It's so convenient.
You know why? Because it makes us feel like it's Christmas. Like just like constantly getting gifts that you send to yourself is such a mind mess. Like,
right.
I swear that's it. It's like it just makes us feel good. Like it's Christmas morning every other day.
So do you gift wrap everything that you send yourself? Because I know that's an option.
To Kraig from Kraig. Merry Christmas. That would be really funny. That'd be a good clickbait YouTube video. I sent myself gifts, 100 gifts over 100 days. Yeah. And it was always like beautifully wrapped. You're like, oh my God, I wonder what it is. Ugh. So I don't know if you listened to the podcast because I just uploaded it, or if you even listened to my stuff, but one video that I want to make coming soon, we're buying the stuff for it on Amazon, so it's funny. We bought this cart that can go behind a bike, and we're going to like go bike around the loop in Central Park with me and my friend. We're going to see like how many high fives he can get, like running in Central Park. He's going to be like that obnoxious high five guy. And I'm going to sit in the cart as someone else rides my bike, and I'm just going to like shoot backwards with the camera. But that is like a test piece for something that I've been wanting to do, which is a running podcast. I don't know if you're a runner, but like, damn, there could be some serious convos happening, especially at the beginning at runs with people. And I think it'd be really, really funny to like be 30 minutes deep into a run and like be mic'd up and trying to still have a conversation with someone.
I listened to, it may have been an episode of Ari Shaffir or Joe Rogan's podcast, and they did a podcast while they were hiking. And I gotta say, it was one of the most annoying things ever, just hearing heavy breathing into the microphone every second. It was maddening. But I'm sure there, if you do a lot of noise removal, I bet
it's definitely more of a video thing, I'd say.
I think that would be interesting, though, especially 30 minutes in. So let's actually go ahead and start to wrap up. I got one last question for you, and that would be, what piece of advice would you give to a new creator or somebody who's just starting out their first YouTube channel?
Damn, I feel like we all say the same thing when it comes to this question, right? It's like what version of that answer do we want to give? Like, be different, do something different. Please don't copy someone else. And if you do copy someone else, you'll do that and you'll have success. Like if you be a little Gary Vee or a little Peter McKinnon or Casey, like it'll work. You'll make some money and you'll get some views, but I feel like it's a con. It's a short-term race. You'll get burnt out. You know, I always play with the idea of like starting a new YouTube channel, because like if you take the knowledge that you know and move forward and start something new, like it scales. Like you hear these stories of people getting like 1 or 2 million subs in like 1 year or something. I just feel like the next one I do would explode even bigger. And it's always interesting to me because it's like, what did I know differently? Like, how differently is my perspective in my mind? And how could I fix that problem for other people? It's like, how do you learn that? Like, should I just write a book or make a video that was like advice to my younger self? And then hopefully that helps younger students or subscribers. Like, do I get that information from like attending conferences or seminars or like having some kind of mentor who like breaks it down? Like, we have so many different ways to learn, and like most things, if you have too many decisions, it's tough. So my biggest piece of advice, I guess, like the real piece of advice, is to like find one authentic mentor who's like going to be real with you and kind of mean, because I feel like that's good. Like, you don't want people who are just like fake and nice. I'd rather have real and mean rather than fake and nice, for sure.
So I think that's fascinating and very good advice. Find somebody who's not going to be a yes man or a yes woman. Got to be inclusive. Make sure that they are going to tell you how it is. And I also liked the be authentic and be different. Don't just emulate somebody for the clickbaitness of it.
Mm-hmm. But then again, I will say that the mistakes are what teach us the most. So sometimes doing the wrong thing will teach us. And it's like, not, the advice isn't to just avoid all the bad things, but like, I got to this point because of the bad things. So sometimes you just have to go through it.
Are you able to share one of the worst things that you've done, or what you think is the worst mistake you've made on YouTube?
Oh yeah. Well, it's pretty common knowledge that word gets around. So if you if you tweet or write messages or like make a video and don't expect the person that you're like calling out or bitching out, like even if you don't use their name, like they're gonna find out. Like celebrities read messages and like read ats, and people dig into themselves way more than you think. So like Twitter and public forums, like those messages live and people screenshot mad quick when it's dirty and real. So if people could go through my tweet drafts, you'd find some real dumb ideas in there. So I've gotten much better at I think Twitter's great because of the draft, because you'll tweet something or reply some like toxic bullshit and then you'll be like, nah. But then you have like the reminder. It's like, I think I have hundreds of drafts and they're terrible. Like,
want to read one of them for us?
They're like, Kraig, you're an idiot. Okay, so the second one I have is like a reply to someone's tweet that was kind of stupid, but my tweet is, "That's the joke, you basic bitch." But like, that would have been directly at them. And that's not helping anything. So I'm not going to post that. That's a draft tweet. Damn, man. I could like I'm telling you, like I got scrolls. So much of this is just like toxic.
Okay. One last question for you, since I am mainly an audio channel. Can you give us a really quick rundown of your audio gear? What microphone, what preamp, and what DAW are you recording into?
I've got a Rode NT USB on a Rode boom arm going via USB into a Mac dongle into a MacBook Pro. No preamp. I guess the computer's my preamp. Maybe there's a preamp in this mic. I don't know. Probably in this mic, right?
Yeah. It's in the mic. And you record into what program?
Audio Hijack, which is a Mac only app. I like it because you can record as many inputs as you want, and you can record applications and system audio, and it does a good job. It's pretty robust, but Mac only. And they don't have an affiliate program, so I'm thinking about finding a program that I can rep and make some money with, because why not? I don't like this mic. It sounds great and it's good if I'm gonna keep it like here, but we were talking about the headset. I want a headset with a mic that just comes down here, because I've got 3 of these babies and they're way too big, way too heavy for a minimalist like me. So
yeah, the headset game is very difficult because the diaphragm of the microphone is so much smaller. You're looking at the size of a penny or a quarter, as opposed to a 1-inch diaphragm in that microphone. So it's going to be a big degradation of audio quality, and it's going to be difficult to find a headset that's USB.
I'm just going to make a headset that can attach this. Like, I'm just going to fashion some kind of hat. And
just get some bike helmets with a boom arm attached.
Right on it. Yeah.
That's a good idea. So let's just end it off. Let people know what you got coming up, where they can find you, and what you want them to know about.
Yeah, we briefly talked about the monetization workshop thing, but that's an actual thing that I'm working on. I would like to, the original plan was to make a bunch of videos, but I think it's going to be one, like sign up for this course kind of thing online. So look for that. Let me know on Twitter what questions you have so I can make sure to include it. But this is going to be like everything I know about making money on YouTube or social media as an influencer. So hit me up on Twitter at Kraig Adams.
Kraig with a K.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kraig, thank you very much for being on. That was a lot of very useful information. And everybody who's watching, go check out Kraig's YouTube channel. I think you can find everything at kraigadams.com. Once again, Kraig with a K. And let him know on Twitter what you want to know in that monetization workshop, and sign up for it when it gets announced.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry, I'm crazy.
Well, there you have it. That is the end of the interview, the episode, the creator case study number 3 with Kraig Adams. Like I promised, Kraig's a weirdo. We went off topic, but we had a lot of fun throughout the entire thing. When it comes to the advice, my favorite piece of advice was when it came to branding your channel and having him describe it as a story you're trying to tell or an agreement or promise that you yourself as the creator are making with your audience. So when it comes to launching your own channel or your podcast or any creative endeavor, think about the promise you want to make with your audience that you can keep. And then also, it's very, very helpful to find a mentor who's going to cut the BS, be straight with you and tell you what's wrong, what you need to fix, and what you're doing well. So yeah, that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took notes. I hope you got something useful out of this. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you did hate it, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. But go ahead and do me a solid and let me know in the comments what you hated about it, what sucked, what you think could be improved upon. You guys can be my mentors for this episode of the Creator Case Study. Until next time, go ahead and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Next month, we got the JTL from Painfully Honest Tech, and we talk about journalistic integrity for tech YouTubers. Sounds dense, but it's a lot of fun. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.